Grade 8s and grade 9s, we are given the challenge to solve for x where we have an equation with two fractions. And this is what we call an equation because it has an equal side that divides the two expressions. The two expressions are divided by an equal sign. Now, before we can get into the geniusness of understanding and approaching the challenge at hand, allow me to share with you the actuality that your results are demonstrative to the actuality that your educators have been failing to ensure that you achieve level 6 and level 7. Your poor results from term 1, your poor results from term 2, and your poor results from term 3 are a clear demonstration that you have been being taught by educators who are not doing enough to ensure that you achieve with level 7 and level 6. It is therefore imperative that whenever you are studying, you have to study with NETA so that NETA can be able to ensure that you study with full understanding and you study to achieve level 6 and level 7. Now let us get into the task at hand. What the first thing that has to be done, the trajectory that we have to follow, is that we have to dissolve our fractions to let me show you how we have to do it. Now from our fractions, we have to dissolve our fractions. We have to break our fractions. And how do we break our fraction? We're going to break our fraction by ensuring that we dissolve our denominator to the value of 1 so that ultimately we get our fraction to becoming x minus 2. Now remember that when we have a fraction, this is the bottom number is always called the denominator, while the top number is what we call our numerator. Now the way to do this, the principle that exists, is that you have to break your fraction by ensuring that you dissolve your denominator so that your denominator becomes the value of 1. And once the denominator is the value of 1, we are just going to be left with our numerator. Now, how do we do this? We do this by multiplying our denominators. We're going to say this 3 multiplied by this 6, which is 18. Now this is the 18 that we're going to use to break our fractions so that our denominator is dissolved to the value of 1. Now let us get into the task of doing that. We're going to multiply by 18. We're going to multiply every term by the value of 18 because we want to balance the equation. We want to ensure that the equation is balanced. 18 into x and 18 into x plus 1 divided by 6. You just multiply every term with 18. And when we are here, we're going to say 18 divided by 3 is 6, and then we are left with our numerator. And then 18 times x is 18x. The same thing happens this side. 18 divided by 6 is 3, then we are left with our numerator, which is x plus 1. Now you can see that now we have brackets. Now our brackets must also go through the process of being removed. We have to remove our brackets through multiplying, and the principle of doing that is that you're going to multiply every term inside the bracket with our outside term, which is 6. Then we're going to have to say 6 times x, which is 6x, and 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. The same thing happens to 3 into x plus 1. We're going to dissolve our brackets through multiplying every term inside the brackets with the term outside the bracket, which is going to be 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 1 is positive 3. Now we're going to have 3x plus 3. Now in the case where you do not understand everything that we are doing, make sure that you WhatsApp Netta on WhatsApp so that we can be able to ensure that we remove your confusions. Now, this is the step where you have to ensure that you arrange your terms. There are terms from your equation that have the variable of x. This term have the variable of x, this term have the variable of x, and this term have the variable of x. Now, these are the terms that must be on one side, must be arranged to one side. And how do we do that? This is 6x, and then this is 18x, and then you can see that 3x is on the other side of the equation, so we want to rearrange it so that we place it in the side where we want to put all terms that have the variable of x. Then we're going to pull it to this side of the equation with negative, because it's on that side with your positive. And when you pull this 3 to the other side, you are left with this 3 this side, and you also pull your negative 12 to the other side with positive 12. Now you punch this in on the calculator. 3 times 3 plus 12, you get the value of 15. And whenever you are adding or subtracting terms that have the variable of x or any variable, what you do is that you have to calculate. By calculating, I mean you have to add or subtract your coefficients. Now remember that, to remind those who might have not understood what I said, remember that when we have 6x, our 6 is coefficient, is the coefficient of the term, coefficient, while our x is the variable. Now any number that is before our variable, which is x, is what we call a coefficient. Now whenever we add or subtract, we just punch on the calculator your coefficients. Therefore you're going to say 6 minus 18 minus 3, which is negative 15, and you retain your x. Therefore you have to divide both sides by negative 15, because the question says solve for x. The question does not say solve for negative x. Therefore you can't leave it as it is. And when we divide both sides by negative 15, this negative 15 will dissolve this negative 15, so that we are left with x, and this one will become the value of negative 1. Now in the case you might not have understood anything that we were doing, please submit your confusions to Netta WhatsApp group so that we can be able to ensure that you achieve level 6 or level 7. Your teachers have been failing from term 1 to date. Make sure that you study with Netta to ensure that you achieve the level of the performances of your satisfaction.